Hello, everyone. Welcome. Grateful that you've chosen to start your Yom Kippur in a bit of an unusual way, and I also recognize beginning a little earlier than others. If you're fasting, this is a real commitment. So I wanted to share a word with you about this, what we've tried to do for you, and then the big innovation of this year, if you've seen what we've tried to do as creative Kol Nidre in the past, is that at the end of the experience, both Rob and I will be able to sit with you for a few minutes, and we can hopefully process a little bit of what you took away from it, what the experience felt like for you. This is a very different way to begin the holiday, but it is my fervent belief that embedded within the Jewish experience from the beginning of time was the theatrical. If you think about, for example, a Passover Seder, what is a Passover Seder? It's really thank you. The commandment of Passover is to tell the story, but more than that, it's to reenact the story. It literally says in the Passover Seder that in every generation, each of us should feel as if we ourselves experienced it. B'chol dor vador chayav adam lirot et atzmo ke'ilu hu yatsa mimitzrayim. We are supposed to feel as if we experienced the Exodus from Egypt. Thank you, Cantor.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Behind the scenes experience, right?
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Glad that happened now and not in the middle of it, you know? Okay. So in any case, we're taking something that is usually not done in a theatrical setting, and we are going to explore what it means to have a Kol Nidre experience with the theatrical. I think I had to give this a title for the live stream, most of all, and I think we called it something like The Book of Life as an alternative Kol Nidre experience. So hope that you engage and that it is a meaningful experience for you. Isn't it strange that a created being should take part in his own creation? Can a caricature hold the pencil of his artist's hand? Can the characters of your own story edit your words? Can the figments of your own imagination tell you what to imagine? And yet here he is, a created being pleading with his creator.
God!
Shakespeare wrote of the same dilemma, you know. Hamlet ponders the nature of life and death, and he says, to die, to sleep, no more, 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, perchance to dream.
Found it!
Now, I've just gotten to the good part.
Oh, I knew it was here.
Yes.
Ta-da!
Yes.
I thought it would be bigger.
Yes. Well, should I continue?
Are you the librarian?
Yes.
Oh, and all these books.
These books and scrolls and the parchments, essays, lithographs.
They're for loan?
Well, they're for perusing. You're in the reference section.
And that one.
Well, this one,
Yeah.
this one is for you to peruse.
Wow, it was hard to find.
Well, we never said it would be easy.
But my book of life, I would think.
You want it should fly off the shelf into your hand or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Sometimes you have to search for a thing to find a thing.
Oh, you're that kind of librarian.
I am.
You're not going to make this easy. Okay. I have a question. Why is this book so small? If it contains all the things that I have done in my whole life, well,
You would expect it to be bigger?
I've been looking for this my whole life. I mean, who doesn't want to know what has been recorded, inscribed on the pages of my life when I die? These are the things
Yes.
which I will be judged by. I remember once someone taught me that the deeds inscribe themselves. I mean, once I do them. And I remember somebody else saying that I wrote the words myself. But I don't see much of myself in here.
They all say the same thing.
Excuse me?
Let me try to explain. So you've come here, right, to try to make sense of your life, a life that didn't make sense to you before. You're busy living your life, and then you find the entrance to this place.
Well, it was right there in the prayer book, the Maksor.
And you imagine some neatly organized little room, maybe a big room, with lots of books in it. And then one of them,
Jumps off the bookshelf, right in my hand.
and it magically opens to a page.
Yeah.
Any page. Say this page. Today. What have you been doing today? What have you been busy doing? And you look and you read, very interesting reading, right? They all imagine this the same way. You've read about the book of life. You've imagined your own book, right? And then I sit here and I wonder every day, how is it that none of you can see past your own life?
But I found it.
Pardon me.
You see, I found it.
I think you've made that clear.
So everything should be in here.
Okay, I'll bite. What did you find?
Well, the book of life.
The book.
Of life. Yeah, or my book of life.
Like the movie, all right? I remember a movie that was called...
No, like in the prayer book. I found the library here, and I just knew that it would be here.
Your book of life?
Right. Like who shall live, who shall die, who by fire, who by water.
That's all in there.
Well, for me it is. All of it. Every single detail. It should all be right here. I thought it would be
Bigger.
Yeah.
Ooh. Now you don't think that it's...
No.
I mean, it's small,
Right.
but is it also...
What?
Is it short? Like not a lot of pages left?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, you're the librarian, right? You're a sort of narrator. Maybe you could help?
Okay, well, let's try this.
Okay.
Okay. The man couldn't believe his luck, overcoming impossible odds. He had searched and searched and searched for
Hours.
Yeah. And this magical library had given up its treasure, and here it was, the man's very own book of life. Brimming over with curiosity, the man opened to the early pages of his own life, and there, on the page,
And there he finds inscribed in his own hand the deeds of his life.
Okay.
September 3rd, September 4th, September 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, September 11th, 2001. Wait, October, July, August, October 2nd, October 3rd, October 7th, 2023.
In the haze of nostalgia, the man notices that not every date has an entry. Surely he must have done something on those days which would have made it into the book.
Just one mitzvah?
Even one moment of laziness.
Hey.
Well, sorry, but these folks, they want to hear it all.
Okay, so laziness is a sin now?
Bachya ibn Pakuda said, "Our days are like a scroll. Write in them only what you want remembered."
Oh, I should be looking for a scroll.
Permanence.
Now, here's what I don't understand.
God doesn't write the scroll. Humanity does.
I remember something that you said.
Me? I've only just arrived here.
From another year, another time.
Yes.
Something like, strange is our situation here on earth. Each of us comes for a short visit, not knowing why, yet sometimes seeming to divine a purpose.
Einstein.
I was supposing that I was hoping that this book or the scroll, something here, something would help me see my purpose. I came here to get closer to it.
Your purpose.
The reason that I'm here.
Well, Einstein wrote more. Like this is from 1932, before the Holocaust. And yet, he wrote, "In daily life, we only feel that man is here for the sake of others, for those whom we love, and for many other beings whose fate is connected with our own."
So, are you saying that anything in my book of life has to be something I specifically did for others?
I don't make the rules. I just read them aloud.
I just would have thought, that my book had a lot more in it.
Do you remember doing more?
Well, no. It's not that I recall anything specific. It's just that I know I've lived a good life. I thought that's why I found the library here.
Okay.
And I've learned of the book of life for so many years. I always imagined it would be one single giant of a book with all the deeds of all humankind in it.
It's a real page turner.
Yeah. Remember us for life, O King, who delights in life, and inscribe us for the blessings in the book of life for your own sake.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's 5 years of Hebrew school.
So I think I know what happened. You were expecting to find the book, the one you've been inscribed in, assuming that you have.
Well, don't we all expect to be written into the book of life?
But you just said that every deed would be there, every action you've ever taken. I mean, tell me, how big do you think that book would be?
Listen, I understand. It's a metaphor. But then I saw this library and all of these scrolls and books.
You know, Einstein wrote something else that really impressed me from a different essay entirely. It's one he called My Credo. The most beautiful and deepest experience a man can have is the sense of the mysterious. It is the underlying principle of religion as well as all serious endeavor in art and science. He who had never had this experience seems to me, if not dead, then at least blind. To sense that behind anything that can be experienced, there is a something that our mind cannot grasp and whose beauty and sublimity reaches us only indirectly and as a feeble reflection, that is religiousness.
May I see that? In this sense, I am religious. To me, it suffices to wonder at these secrets and to attempt humbly to grasp with my mind a mere image of the lofty structure of all that there is. There is no book.
Wait, what is, I don't follow.
What don't you follow? It's all right here. Einstein said it clear as day.
Okay, first of all, Einstein never said anything clear as day. But I think you're onto something. Go on, tell me.
He says he considers himself a religious man, which might surprise a few people. Science and religion often seem at odds with each other. But I think he's saying that only if religion is about something really, really beautiful, something so sublime that we can't really describe it in words, then he's saying he's experienced that. He wonders.
He calls it mysterious.
There is a mystery in the center of reality. And both science and religion, they're trying to get to the heart of that mystery.
And if you've never experienced that mystery, you don't truly understand either one.
Religion or science.
So, about this book.
Well, my book of life is my own to write. It's not something that I can find in a library, even this one.
Days are like scrolls. Write in them what you want remembered.
Maybe I haven't thought that I've done enough to have written in the book to be remembered.
That would make it a pretty thin volume.
Yeah. So why do we pray about this book? It's just a metaphor.
Well, think about what a book is. All of these books, they are doorways into another world, another person's life.
Reading a book takes you into another person's life.
And that never changes. That world, you can go back and visit it any time you open the book.
Or a scroll.
Or parchment, yeah. Those are the ways that we record these things for the future so that others can read our thoughts and enter our lives.
Write only on it what you want remembered or read.
Do you have a child?
Do dogs count?
Well, for this, maybe, yeah.
Okay.
But you would have cute kids. I'm just saying.
Thank you.
Okay. But imagine your scroll. Imagine the scroll is for them. What do you want them to remember you by? Write on your scroll the things you want to be remembered by or known by.
These hypothetical children that I have.
Exactly. I mean, they don't need to remember what you had for breakfast every day. They'll see those things. They are not entirely worthless things, but they'll also see you in your best of times and in your worst of times. How do you behave when you have the chance to help someone else? Will they learn from you what places inspire you to give, how to treat a friend, how to be a friend, what kind of life partner to find for themselves? As much as you try to teach them these things, they really will only learn for themselves by watching you, remembering the actions of your life.
So, the book of life is really theirs. My children, even though I don't have children.
Well, you catch on pretty quick.
So what is in here then?
I think you know. It's written in your own hand.
There are only really few important things that I've learned, things that I would want to teach or be remembered in that way.
Well, those are your pages. Today is the best chance that you've got to read that book and to write in it too.
You know, I've always wondered about the Kol Nidre prayer that we hear tonight.
Well, I can help you find a nice Jewish encyclopedia.
Is that like Wikipedia?
Oy vey. No.
We hear these words, all the vows, the promises I make from this Yom Kippur to the next.
May you reach it in good health.
May they be null and void. May they be null and void. Why would we cut ourselves off like that? Why would we say those words?
Well, maybe the vows and the promises that you make are going to be the words in your scroll the next time Yom Kippur comes around. And maybe you aren't so sure if you can tell which words to write into your book and which to discard. In fact, if you're making a list, checking it twice, but that's you doing the checking. Check your list. Make sure you're okay with how the scroll looks, your book of life, because you never know when you're going to need it.
You'll never know when you're going to be finished writing it.
No, it's a bit morbid when you put it that way, but yeah.
You know, I have studied a bit. Maimonides wrote that the names of the righteous are entered into the book of life, and the names of the wicked are entered into the book of death. And for the rest of us, neither fully wicked nor righteous, judgment is suspended.
Well, he was always a little literal for my taste, but
Judgment is suspended, but that's got to be all of us. We're not all wicked. We are not all entirely righteous either. We're the in-between people who haven't yet been written into the book of life or the book of death.
But he makes it sound like books are just these lists of names. This one for life, this one for death, this one. The problem with that is that once your name is in a book, sooner or later someone comes looking for you and your time is up.
I guess we never know when our time actually comes to, but I can't stop. I can't stop thinking about that phrase that judgment is suspended.
Well, go on.
Maybe that's the point of these holy days. Maybe that's what I came here to read, that I thought that I would find my name in one of those books.
I thought it would be bigger.
Yeah, but now I think my name wouldn't be in one of those books. Not yet. I haven't done the work of Yom Kippur yet.
Write only what you want remembered.
But I've got one more hour, one more day, and that's all I need for teshuvah. Just 1 minute should be long enough if I use it right.
If you use it too right. Yeah.
My own book of life.
The book of life,
The most beautiful,
the deepest experience
a man can have
is
is
mysterious.
the sense of the mysterious,
It's the underlying principle
of religion.
of art and science. He who has never had this experience seems
Dead
to
and
be,
blind.
if not dead, then
At least blind
to
behind
sense that
everything
behind that can be, there is something that
there is something that
the mind cannot
the
grasp,
beauty and sublime,
reaches us only
feeble
indirectly,
reflection, indirectly.
feebly. That's religion.
There is something
Greater.
greater out there. I just can't describe
I
it.
am religious.
In a sense,
It suffices to say, wonder
wonder.
at these secrets.
to attempt humbly to grasp with my
A
mind
mere image.
the lofty structure of all that there is.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Ben.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I've got 2 chairs here. I know we don't normally applaud in services, but there isn't a better way that we've come up with to end an experience like that. But Rob Johansson, who I decided to just go right into the experience and not introduce ahead of time, but familiar face to many in the community from his work at every theater in town and regionally, about ready to play another very deeply religious character, Scrooge in Christmas Carol. But
There's
very
a good
grateful.
truth to that. Yeah, yeah.
He comes to a religious understanding. But please have a seat, and we would love the opportunity to talk with you for just a few minutes about what that experience felt like for you. What were some of the themes that you heard in it? And what do you think of this image of the Book of Life? Please, Randy.
It sounds like, what do you want your obituary to say?
It sounds like, what do you want your obituary to say? There's a great exercise where you do 2 pieces of writing. One, you write for yourself a resume, and then you write for yourself an obituary. And you discover that there are resume things that you are proud of in your life, and then there are obituary things that you're proud of in your life, and that they're very different lists. And that the Book of Life, I have always found it a very challenging metaphor. I think that's why I was interested in writing about it. But that if there is that sort of record of our deeds, if our deeds matter in some cosmic way, then it's clearly those actions that would end up on our obituary and not necessarily the resume ones. Yeah. Have you encountered that exercise before?
I haven't, then that would be really interesting.
It's an interesting exercise to go
Yeah.
through. Yeah, thank you. What else have people heard about the Book of Life? Yeah. Explain a little bit further, if we would, the concept of judgment is suspended. Yeah, do you want to take that
God.
one on?
This is your milieu.
No.
Any questions
see.
about dogs or acting?
Dogs are acting. Well, I think on the surface, that line comes from the liturgy directly, which says that, there is this. Okay, so I hesitate because sometimes when you start with a really surface explanation, we grasp onto that and then we can't see anything else. So try to go with this for a minute. The surface explanation is that in between these 2 days, there's Rosh Hashanah, there's Yom Kippur, that we call the first the day of judgment, and then the second we call the Day of Atonement. And you even see this in the greetings for the day. We say, may you be written in the Book of Life. That's the traditional blessing for Rosh Hashanah. And may you be inscribed for blessing in the Book of Life at Yom Kippur. So in between those 2 days is, in theory, it's this theoretical time where judgment is upon you, the day of judgment has arrived, but that judgment is suspended and that your actions in those 10 days might affect the outcome. But I find that to be a very, very problematic theology. The idea that somehow if we're just good on this one day, then it somehow makes up for all of the garbage that we may have done in the year that before us. So what I tried to write into this play was the idea that judgment is always suspended, that there is no sense that your fate is sealed. Even in the liturgy, it doesn't actually say that your actions on this one day might change the outcome. What it says is that it will change the severity of the outcome. It will change how you experience the outcome, how you experience your fate. So, for example, some in our community will pass away in the coming year. Some in our community passed away in the year that is past. There is nothing we can do about that. That is sometimes felt to us like a decree from on high that we have little to do with. And yet, says the liturgy, there are actions that we can take in our lives now, in the moment we've been given, that make life meaningful, and then when the decree comes, it will not feel as severe of a decree. Further question. You're not asking me as a rabbi, why do bad things happen to good people, but why do bad things happen to good people? Okay. Rob, why do bad things happen to good people?
You know, wow. If it's a...
Why do,
No, you know...
Yeah.
I have to preface this by saying, you know, I'm so grateful that for the last 2 years I've been able to be a part of this.
I am more grateful.
And it's interesting, when I was pulling out of the driveway coming over here and feeling the excitement, and I'll get to the question, but I thought about, I've been an actor for a bunch of years now, and theater deals with so many wonderfully diverse topics. And when it comes to religion, your faith comes into my playground much more than any other. And I remember, and you guys can smack me if you want, I walked out of here last year going, I have to just be a part of this world. I love this, you know. It really, I had such a deep experience last year and again this year. I just find it humbling and rewarding to be a part of this. My take on somebody said, you're only dealt what you can handle. And I think the tragic times in my life that I've been dealt have been awful, and there have been some times that I've been really mad. Like, how can this be happening? But down the lane a few squares, I find that those really tough experiences help me deal with the things that are coming, you know. And it's not fair, but there's, for me, just as a human, I think there's always something to be gained by things that really make life an uphill battle sometimes. Yeah. I don't know how would we be as rich a human being if we didn't have those things to grapple with. I don't know. That's my take.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. If you look to the sources, the sages of old have all wrestled with this question, And one of the greatest pieces of wisdom that I have found was also from Maimonides, who gets a little shout out in this production, who wrote that if we were not subjected to both bad things and good things, but in an authentic and organic way, then we would be robots. We would be unable to be held accountable for our actions. If we didn't have a choice to make between righteousness and evil, then you could never punish someone for making an evil choice. So the fact that you have this experience that we all have of free will and of human choice, it means that sometimes people are going to make bad choices. It means that the cure for some illness that has not been discovered yet is beyond us because we have not found it yet, or we haven't invested enough money in finding the cure for that illness yet. It's a different understanding of the word evil, because I would never call an illness evil, although there are some horrible experiences that we're all aware of in the world. Human beings make choices. That's because we are not robotic. We are not automatons. We are beings with free will, and God wants that for us. So that's the wisdom of the sages. And we'll still keep asking that question. Every one of us. Please.
You are someone who's been with a lot of people towards the end of their lives, I assume. How did your experience with those people influence this play?
That's what David asked. Being in the position that we are as rabbis, we are very often with people as they die. And how did that experience help shape this play? I personally believe it's shaped everything that I do, and I really don't mean this as a plug. But tonight, my sermon that's the topic of the sermon. Not how has it influenced this play, but what are the things that I've taken away from the years that I have seen death up close. I think that there is a tremendous amount of comfort that I have received from seeing the way that death manifests. Sometimes it comes as a very unexpected and unwelcome visitor, and sometimes it comes as a saving grace, a friend after many, many long months or even years. And often it feels as if it's both. I think that for me, this imagery of the book of life is profound because we are mortal creatures. Because we have only a limited amount of time, therefore what we do in every moment has meaning. But I'll be talking about it later tonight, and if you're interested in staying, or it'll be online if you're not able to stay. So, like I said, I really don't mean to plug the service later, but interesting. Please. Sometimes feels as if there's someone up there pulling the strings. You don't believe that? Right. Yeah. Sometimes I personally believe that human beings are meaning-making machines. I could give you the beginning of any text, and this is the beauty of text study in a Jewish context, that's what I know is Jewish context, but I think in many religious contexts it works this way. So I could give you a story. There was a little girl with a red cape, and she was bringing a basket of treats through the dark woods to her grandmother. And as human beings, we take that text and we cannot help ourselves. We ascribe meaning to it. What does the red cape mean? Why is it red? Could have been any color. Why did they make it red? What is the young girl going into the dark woods really about? What is that story actually about? And the wolf that devours her, what is that? We can't help ourselves but to find layers of meaning in those texts. And I think the same thing happens with us in our life experience too. We cannot help but see signs and layers of meaning. So the example I often give in class is that maybe some of you have had, is that if I hit every green light from my house to the temple in the morning when I'm coming to work, I think something great is going to happen today. Something's with me. And if I hit every red light, then I should just go back and get back in bed. It's not worth starting the day. That's because of our inability to avoid making meaning. And so it's very possible that why do these things happen to us? Well, how many of us ask, why is this happening to me when something really good happens? We don't ask. Is that because we think we deserve that and we think we don't deserve the other? Perhaps. But I think it would not be human to experience those things and to say, well, I don't know what to make of this, without asking. We are meaning-making creatures. That in my opinion, that's what the theater is all about. You take an empty space and you walk across the stage and you've got a theatrical event.
And every audience member has a different experience, and it's so subjective. Yeah, yeah.
Because we all make meaning our own way. I saw a hand here. Yeah.
So, I'm going to go back. When I was in 7th grade, we had to write a paper about what we thought the Book of Life was.
Wow. In the 7th grade, you wrote a paper on what you thought the Book of Life was.
It was kind of like, okay, it's just they're blank pages as you presented in this play today. And it's not every day that the page is filled. It's filled by the people in your life afterwards. What do they remember? They write the book of your life. So, do they focus on the bad? Do they focus on the good? It depends how you live your life, what they're going to focus on and what they're going to put in those pages.
That's so beautiful. So the project sort of taught you that the way that the metaphor of the Book of Life worked for you was that the Book of Life is an empty book, and that is to be filled in by those who come after you, by what they remember you by. Yeah, that is. I agree. I think we tried to write into this play as well. Thank you for that. Other thoughts? Yeah.
Kind of new to the whole setting and concept.
It's a little strange.
Yeah. I couldn't help but thinking as you were doing the play about the questions about why do good things or bad things happen to good people and why does evil persist, etc. And I was wondering about the knock-on effect. So, for example, like if you think of the whole universe as maybe a serene, calm, still lake, and someone like Albert Einstein, who you mentioned in your play, comes along and drops a big rock in the lake, it creates a ripple, and the ripple gets bigger and bigger as it influences other people going across the lake. And then bad things happening to people, good people. With your experience working on the stage and the theater, through history you've seen people who've had really bad things happen to them create great works of art and music and literature, and that touches other people. It could be their contribution. And then maybe someone like Oscar Schindler who saves people, and it ripples and ripples and affects to somebody like Rosa Parks standing up, small ripples. So everybody contributes something that, while it might be bad for them in that period of time, or good, it affects all of us in a certain way, but the ripple still has a knock-on effect.
I love that. So the comment was, wow, I'm not sure I can summarize that. I want to just do it to the microphone. No, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
That thinking about cause and effect and the way that we interact with each other in this world, that every action affects every other action. Everything that we do affects everyone around us, and you imagined it like a calm lake, where if Albert Einstein comes along, that's a big presence, and so that's a big rock dropping into the lake, and the ripples then affect everything else and everyone around him and everyone in the world. We are sharing this life, and our actions affect one another. So whether it's good or bad, I mean, I know that there are, I'll tell you the one I could never understand, and I have such respect for people who do this work, but it's pediatric oncology. It's the one job I could never understand, dealing with something so profoundly unfair as watching little ones in pain. And it's just not, I could never do it, and like I said, I have so much respect for those who do. How do you say to someone who's going through something like that, well, this is just the nature of the universe, or this is what God wanted, or any justification of it falls short? I'd be interested to hear what my colleague thinks about. I'm looking at you, what you would say, what wisdom you've learned in your rabbinate. But I don't know that any of these sort of intellectual, excuses for it make it okay. It's not. It's just not okay. And yet, it happens. There are pediatric oncologists because we need pediatric oncologists. So why you? Why not you? Why anybody? And the only alternative, I think, on a global scale, is us being robots again. And if we could cure childhood cancers, that would be just fine. That would be just fine. Yeah. Please.
It's not okay, but if it brings about compassion and shared humanity and brings us together, because those are the times when we need each other, we are safe, we need our people. In good times, it's kind of easy to just go to your place. I'm not saying that's why there's bad things, but
Yeah, bad things give us the opportunity, you're saying, to express, to strengthen our own empathy and to express it. I know that there's a reading in the prayer book that I like very much that says something like, grief is indeed a good teacher when it inspires us to go back and help others. Our shared humanity, yeah.
it's not them that it's happening to, it's us.
It's not happening just to them, it's happening to all of us. So, yeah, thank you for that. We have another minute or so. Yeah, please.
What struck me in the introduction was the character of the seeker and the gradual humility. He came in with himself and took his will
Mm.
and acquired some humility. And what I heard is also an implication for the statement about it's not what we put in our book, it's how people remember us.
Mm.
It's humility that the whole thing is bigger than just us.
So the seeker enters the scene and is looking for, I want to find my book, and then acquires some humility along the way. I like that.
Yeah.
Please.
I want to hear what you guys have to say about the quote up there on the book.
Oh,
Yeah, this is one of my favorite books. Some of you I know have read that book. It's a book about the high holidays, and it's written by Rabbi Alan Liu, and it's just a gem. It's a beautiful, beautiful reflection on what all of these days mean. But he focuses on specifically the work of the high holidays not being what happens in this room, but what happens inside for each one of us. That we should take it seriously, that there's work for us to do, to actually try to strengthen our relationships with one another, to figure out if I need to make an apology to somebody, and to actually do that. And so the title, I imagine the the meeting that he had with his publisher, where he said, "No, I need it bigger. I need the title to be bigger. It should not even fit on the front cover." So it's the full front and back of the book. This is real, and you are completely unprepared, as the primary message of the high holidays. Yeah. What did you think when you came in and saw that?
I loved that. Rabbi Brett did the set design.
That was
nice.
me, set design, right?
Yeah. I walked in and that smacked me in the face. I was like, I don't feel completely unprepared, but close. Yeah, close. Yeah.
Well, I have a piece that I'd like to read to wrap this up with you. I think that what I was really imagining was that this was a scene at the end of life. I didn't tell you this.
I got the vibe that, it could be.
Well, I wanted it to feel as if he maybe doesn't know. But all of a sudden, he finds himself in this library. I was very moved by the book, many of you probably read, The Midnight Library. Such a good book. And I'm positive it will be a movie, so if you haven't read it, just wait until the movie comes out. It will be good. This is actually a quote from that book, oddly. And I just want to explain one phrase, and then I'll read you the quote. He calls us at the end of this quote the avaryonim. Avaryonim is a phrase that shows up in the liturgy, and if you're with us tonight, we'll read that. We are gracing the congregation. We say at the very beginning of the service that we give permission for all of us sinners to gather together, and we pray together with those who have sinned. The avaryonim are those who have sinned. And as you pointed out in the play, that's really all of us. We're all the in-between people. But he points out in the book that avar also means to pass, that it's not only those who have sinned, as in transgressed, it's also those who passed by. And he says, we are the ones who are just passing through every one of us. In other words, when we gather to pray for Yom Kippur, we are gathering as passerbys. We are all just temporarily dwelling here together in these human forms, and we are all sinners as well. So here's the quote. He says, "One summer, a group of us took a 7-day excursion into the deep wilderness of southeastern Alaska. We arrived in the wilderness during the end of the life cycle of the chum salmon. This is a remarkable cycle. The salmon rage up the wild rivers of Alaska to spawn, but the moment they do, they begin to lose their life force. They begin to die. They rage, they spawn, their life force dims, and they die. You can see this happening before your eyes. And you can see it because something else happens in this final stage of their lives, which is really quite wonderful. They begin to jump up out of the water very high and very often. It's extraordinary to see. Why do they do this? Some say it is a vestigial instinct left over from the days when they were running up the rivers and had to leap over many impediments. And some say they leap for joy, to celebrate that their lives have successfully run their course. They have spawned. They have kept the life cycle going. This is a picture of the soul's journey to express itself, to create what it was to put on this earth to create, and then to make a leap of great joy. And the soul makes this joyous leap in spite of the fact that it knows that as soon as it expresses itself, it will begin to die. It will begin to fade away. We rise up, we fall away. We express our unique and indispensable contribution to the great flow of life, and then we pass on. We become an avarion, one of the avarionim. That was actually where I started with the play. I don't know if it comes through, but I am so grateful for all of your willingness to participate in this experiment. Any feedback would be warmly welcomed. Give me a couple days. Don't go home and write an angry email right away. Couple days. But I am very grateful for your participation in this, and of course, beyond grateful for your partnership. And I do have to mention that the first time we tried this, Jen, Rob's wife, was a very talented actor as well, and was willing to go with me on a similar journey. Very grateful for that as well, and look forward to doing that again in the future. So thank you very much to you both. And thanks for coming. So if you are staying, I believe you have to re-park the car. But either way, I hope that you have a meaningful holiday. For those who are fasting, I hope you have a meaningful fast day. And thank you for entering the day with me in this rather unorthodox, unique, creative way. Shana Tova.